Okay.
All right. We'll call the meeting to order, 6:30 on April 27th. We have a roll call.
Smith? Ashley Anderson?
Here.
Stacy Anderson?
Oh, sorry, here. I think I answered for Ashley. I'm so sorry.
Sarah Geiser?
Here.
And Hauser?
Here. And Sarah Smith.
Is Sarah here? I'm sorry, Sarah Schmitz.
Here.
And we are, and Downs will be arriving later, correct?
Yes.
Right. And we are meeting electronically in this format due to the COVID-19 virus and in order to just keep a safe distance. So I'll just let you proceed.
Okay, may I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved. This is Stacy.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, thank you. So have we received any notice of any communication from the public?
I have not.
Okay. At this point, we don't have any information for future meeting, or we can, no, actually it is not. Go ahead and, okay, Ashley's left for a minute, she's gonna log back in. Steve, would you like to cover anything on the facilities?
Sure, just a couple of things. I did put in, Stahl wrote up a 2-page deal, and I think the nicest thing about what Stahl has is, because even I always got confused, there's a little diagram in that handout when they talk about the area A, B, C, or D. It gives you an idea of what they're talking about. So again, they poured most of the floor deckings. They're working on the second floor deckings. And it's really neat to see because the storm shelter area is concrete down below, of course. And then on the other sections, that's an A, and then section D, the back part section, you'll see the steel stud walls are going up on the first floor. And next week, they're hoping to start the second floor stud wall. So if you haven't been by there in the last 2 weeks, it's really looks different. You'll see some of the larger block walls being built as well. And it's just, I don't know, it's really neat to see that it's starting to take shape of a building. So pretty neat on that. The fitness center, have the, some of the, I guess not small things, but we're down to the nitty gritty things. They started doing the floor, the subflooring in the areas this past week. After we hopefully approve tonight, the sound system and the projector type systems, those will go in next. There are some smaller projects that we're also doing, putting in a vent. So we have a washer and dryer back in the storage area place. So that's really coming along. And even though there are probably 150 items when they do the final walkthrough, it's really starting to take shape. Even the concession stand now looks like kind of a small kitchen area. So it's really coming along really neat. So that's really neat to see. The most recent schedule basically puts us on schedule to be finished by June 1st, I believe. So, and actually the last week in May, when they'll do the final punch list or walkthrough. Are there any questions that I will attempt to answer on those projects?
Okay, well, it's encouraging that something is going very well.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had a couple communications from people that they can't hear me. If you could send me another message. My mic is on.
Did you forget
I can hear you just fine, Catherine.
Okay, good. Okay.
We did receive a chat message that Ashley's microphone may not be working.
Okay.
If maybe she'd like to call in, but Mary Beth, can you send her your number? Oh, she did.
called
Okay.
in.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did that.
Awesome.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will go ahead and move into the action item.
Okay. First one is we have the graduation, proposed graduation list, and again, provided everyone meet the requirements of the district and the state. We recommend that the board approve the graduation list for 2020.
This is Mark, I'll move to approve.
Ashley, I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, the second item is a change in the price increase for hot lunches. And it's, the explanation, I think, pretty clear. It's been mandated for the federal USDA. Do I have a motion or a discussion?
I move to approve. This is Stacy.
This is Mark, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Okay, I believe that's unanimous. All right, item C. Is Beth on the phone?
She's available by phone. Do you need?
Okay, no, I don't think so. I didn't know if she was holding on or not. Okay, so we are moving to approve the issuance of the sale of the next general obligation bonds, Series 2020B. Do I have a motion?
This is Mark, I'll move to approve the issuance of documents in association with the obligation bond.
This is Stacy. Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that is unanimous. I'm encouraged to bring forward the UEA agreement, tentative agreement for the next school year. Are there any questions or clarifications? Okay, may I have a motion for approval?
This is Brianna. I would move to approve the negotiation. This is Ashley. I'll second.
Okay, thanks, guys. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Okay, that appears to be unanimous. And again, that's very encouraging to have reached that conclusion. Item E, vacation adjustments for 2021. Do we have any questions or clarifications on this issue? Okay, if not, we have a motion to approve.
This is Mark, I'll move to approve the waiver of the deadline.
Second. This is Desi.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That appears to be unanimous. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, we have 3 requests for additional staffing for next year. Do we have any questions or clarifications on any of these items? Okay, if not,
I have a question.
go ahead, Sarah.
An item F, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's the addition of a additional translator. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to collect my thoughts here real quick. So the change letter, so it's just changing the contract.
I believe that's
and adding a position.
that's adding a position.
On the translator?
Yes.
For,
I think the translator is for kind of aiming at Burmese or whatever. I think they're aiming to try to broaden our.
Burmese and Hakka-Chin is what it says, Sarah.
Yeah.
sorry, I,
Go on finding someone, which may be challenging.
no. are we looking at 1, 2, and 3 together, correct?
Yes, unless someone wants to pull one or the other out.
Okay, and, the FFO is a new contract for all?
It's a new contract for all with the addition of 1 FTE. So we're adding 1 as well, so proposal.
I just have a quick question and, oh, you know what? I think my question is irrelevant because I think I was asked of the wrong person, so never mind. Sorry.
No problem.
And are there any other clarifications? If not,
This is Sarah again, sorry, I was trying to gather my thoughts and I had some background noise come in and I kind of got like sidetracked. So, okay, so with the SFO position, I just want to say a couple things. I feel like this has been a work in progress, so, I'm like very thankful to Lauren and Carrie, for like, I guess taking into consideration, what the job entails and, you know, putting the work into reworking their contract and giving them closer to, you know, what, is just a more, you know, a more valued contract, for those workers. I would say that, adding a position also just acknowledges that the district is, you know, seeing more need and, that those positions are spread pretty thin. I have other questions, like, because I still think we're a ways away from, you know, valuing those positions in the same, with the same, as we are teachers and administrators, because like they're still on a 12-month contract and they still fall short of, compensation, but it's still like it's a big change and it's a big step forward. So I'm just really happy that the district has taken these steps and hope to have more conversations in the future. That's all. I'm all for it. I just feel like there have been you know, a lot of people are happier today. So thank you for looking at that.
and thanks for expressing that. Okay, do we have a motion to approve then?
This is Mark, I'll move to approve.
Okay, second.
Okay, now Sarah. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that's unanimous. Thanks. And thanks for all your work in resolving some of those issues, everybody. Okay, we're moving to G then, the COVID-19 update resolutions. Yeah, we'll just do G. Do we have any questions or clarifications on either the resolution or the continuation of pay to our employees, hourly employees?
I will also share that while I have a couple of comments in the details, because we didn't have a place on the agenda actually for it, I do have just kind of a brief handout, but it's under the discussion of other matters, just to give you an idea of what we're looking at. Tim and I have been in discussion and we're trying to work through what graduation, or a semblance of it, what it might look like, what are some options we're looking into. And so I mentioned it in here, but I also have it a little bit later where, in case you have any direct questions on our options that we're looking at, and that'll be later in the discussions of other matters. And just to be clear, I list out under that resolution is 98% of what the last two were. I just list those out because of emails I get from employees. It's hard to read that jargon sometimes from the legal stuff, so I pull that out so they're aware that that's an important and critical part of that resolution.
Any questions? Okay, we have a motion.
This is Mark, I'll move to approve.
Ashley, I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that appears to be unanimous. Correct me, again, correct me if I'm wrong. Now we will move to H, which is the amended pre-levy resolution for the general obligation bonds that we had previously approved. Do we have any questions or clarifications? If not, may I have a motion?
This is Mark, I'll move to approve.
This is
This
Sarah.
is Casey, second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That appears to be unanimous. We'll move on to approving the continuation of juvenile court services, which we've had disagreement with having a local juvenile court representative since probably 20 years. So this is an extension, a 3-year extension. Do we have any questions about this? Okay, may I have a motion?
This is Stacy, motion to approve the juvenile court services 3-year agreement.
Mark, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, opposed, same sign. Okay, appears to be unanimous again. Now we're moving on to J, which is the fitness center projection proposal, TV and projector. Do we have any questions or clarifications about that item?
This is Mark, I'll move to approve.
Okay, thank you. Anyone? You have a second?
Sure. Brianna, right here.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That appears again unanimous. The next item is the accompanying sound audio system for the fitness center. Do we have any questions or clarifications on that item?
Gotta have sound to go with the pictures, right?
That might be an elementary.
Right. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Again, appears unanimous. Okay, we're moving on then to the Karen Acres AV equipment and installation. Any questions or clarifications on that? It appears to be bringing Karen Acres up to the level of the other buildings. Okay, do I have a motion?
This is Mark, I'll move to approve.
This is Sarah.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Again, unanimous. Normally, as is stated in the item of the Chromebook purchase, these are held off until summer. But for obvious reasons, we're reaching the shortage. So, any clarifications or questions on the Chromebook purchase?
Have we received word that it actually will be delayed by any measure, or do we have any idea yet?
I have not heard anything on that, Mark, so I'm not sure. I think he's just worried that, I mean, these were it was really worked out well because I think he listed it here. Many of the Chromebooks that we issued out were due for a upgrade anyway, so I think 750 of them were already, so. But we're not sure, we just know with the tremendous request for technology, we better get that order in as soon as we can.
Yep, makes sense. I'll move to approve.
This is Stacy, second.
Thanks, guys. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, that would be unanimous, Mary Beth. And there is also a motion here to upgrade the server storage. Do we have any questions on that? Looks like it's time. May I have a motion?
I'll keep my stream going. Mark, I'll move to approve.
This is Sarah, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. So unanimous. Thank you, guys. That's a lengthy action item agendas then.
And a few dollars spent.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. In the past, we had discussed a gesture of appreciation first week in May. Is teacher appreciation. It's a bit difficult to make a gesture when they're not there. So Steve and I agreed that we would try to express our appreciation as a board. And I worked with Dina to write this letter. And unless anyone objects, I'm hoping that Steve will send it out next Monday, which is the beginning of teacher appreciation. Hopefully you'll read it here so you know what you said.
I have no objection. I think this is wonderful and really appreciate you and Dina for taking care of this. My only, and this is like a writing quirk, and I'm so sorry. Can you please justify the letter before you send it out?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so you've each signed it, so barring any objection. Okay, so that'll go out on Monday.
Yes.
It's not adequate in any way for what these people have been doing, but I'd like them to know that we do realize what they're trying to help us do. Okay, may I have a motion to bring forward the consent agenda?
This is Mark. So
Mark. Sarah, this is Sarah, second. I'll go to
Okay. Do we have any questions or clarifications on any of the consent agenda items? Okay, lacking that, all in favor of approving the all the items on the consent agenda, signify with aye.
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 Okay. Anyone not in favor of that, same sign. Okay. Okay, so now we'll move to discussion of other matters, and maybe Steve, you can clarify a little bit of what you're working on.
So first of all, I will tell you, Tim and myself, we've received several emails. Probably at least the last 2 weeks is probably the number one question of, how are we going to acknowledge the seniors, the work they've put in through our entire 13-year and some longer through preschool history. And, parents are all over the board. Some of them want to do a virtue. There's even some districts that are trying like a drive-through. So what we're proposing is, it does say Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. We're looking to, first of all, we think the best of a tough situation would be to hold it later in the year, and rather than kick that can down the road till June, we thought the best thing we could attempt to do was have it in late July. And again, we fully realize not everyone, no matter when you change the schedule, it won't work for everyone. But in that means, then we wouldn't have to, we're hoping the latest we can go, maybe at that point, the governor will allow, due to safety, it might be safe enough to have large group gatherings. If we go in May, that's probably a 0%. June, it might go up a little bit, but we're really hopeful that, again, we could do it late July. We have been in contact with Drake. They are unsure at this point if they are willing to hold any events. And again, they're like us, they don't know what that'll be, but I'm guessing they're also worried about, liability potentially of bringing people back. But again, we'll all listen to the experts. If it does not work into Drake's plan, Plan B would be to hold a graduation in our South Gymnasium. Of course, it'd be limited seating, so students would probably be allowed to have, I'm not sure what Tim said, 2, 3, or 4 people as guests to join them if we had it there. And then Plan C is something that we thought, okay, we won't know if we can have those maybe until sometime in, maybe it'll be late May or June when we find out even if we can have any semblance of a graduation. So Plan C is kind of a two-part. The first one is to basically, turn into a virtual graduation, but knowing that we cannot have more than 10 people in a group together, Tim was thinking possibly we could have students set up on a schedule and maybe maximum of groups of 5 and maybe even less, of course, if their parents are out in the PAC. And that's why we need to schedule them so we don't get a group of people. Maybe they'd come in one door, walk across the PAC. They would be in their cap and gowns. Tim or Dania might hand them the quote diploma, even though it wouldn't be in there as of yet. And then basically we'd get their picture taken and then put that into, and again, we could show it virtually, but then we'd also create a video because there might be, that's Plan C2, there might be students who just, again, don't feel comfortable, or their parents might not have them feel comfortable walking in among other people. So they would send in a picture of themselves wearing the cap and gown, and then we put that in the virtual video. Unfortunately, because of the numbers of people, myself, administrators, the board would probably not participate in that because, if the board and I were there, we'd be over our 10 even to have students there. So we're just trying to do, right by our students and try to at least do something for them. We also have a call into the Department of Public Health because that was one of the recommendations that we were given through SAI, said, and ISB, I can't remember, one of those said that we probably want to make sure that we run our plan through, again, that department to make sure that they're okay with the criteria. I have talked to one of my colleagues at Bondurant, and he had contacted them, and they just said, no matter what, we have to hold firm to no large groups, and even the ones that are there, we practice social distancing. So we think we can make these things happen as well. In addition, Tim's plan would be to still do some sort of a virtual seniors honor ceremony on the 27th. The challenge will be, if you can get all the, they hand out a lot of awards and a lot of money to students that night. He would attempt to get some virtual messages from those sponsors of those scholarships. And then we could, again, announce who those winners are and again, do something virtually so we don't lose that ceremony as well. And then on the 28th, after the, it's kind of the exact plan as they were to graduate. The diploma, then they would just basically, we'd have them call in at the office, and then there'd be a couple runners, and they'd run the actual diploma out to the students in their car on the 28th. So those are some things we're looking at, and just think it's probably the best we can do to recognize our students' hard work. Any questions or comments? And if you have other suggestions, we have not sent the letter out yet. We want to, again, answer people's questions, so we've just been kind of putting them off, telling them that we're working through the various options. We feel this is probably the best we could do.
Hi, Steve. Can I explain?
Please.
Just ask a couple questions?
Yeah,
First
sure.
of all, thank you for coming up with the different options and thinking about it. One, my question was, did families get surveyed? Were families surveyed with possible options or what they had thought would work out, or are these just the district leaders thinking of?
I will say they're district leaders, but with probably, I'll bet I've gotten at least 50 emails on it. And again, they're just all over the place. But we have not, to answer your question, we have not surveyed parents. Again, with 300, I think they're going to be all over the place. So even if they said, yes, do a virtual, we're doing that. If they say, yes, do an actual ceremony, we're trying to do that. So I think this is probably the best of both worlds, and that's why we decided against a survey, because we're attempting to honestly meet the various requests.
Sure. The only reason I asked is because I recently just saw that West Des Moines published their plans to be outside at Valley Stadium, and it really kept going back to, we are listening to you, we surveyed our families, so that would be my only thought on this, was that we wanted to make sure that we say we're listening to families, whether it be through the multiple emails or, so that they do know that we're taking everything into consideration.
Are you saying that if you wouldn't want to do both, just one, if we hear that
Well,
from people?
if you choose not to survey families, I think that's okay. I still think that it would be really important as you publish what's going to be happening, that you somewhere in your statement say that we're listening to families that reached out to us, that
Sure.
we wanted to give plenty of options. I also really appreciate that Dina went forth with the signs, but also now is having a donation available as well, so that you can adopt a senior. I just felt really strongly that I want to make sure that every one of our students gets a sign, and not just because they can't afford it.
Sure.
So,
no,
I think as much as we can publicize that, I think the same even with teacher appreciation, if each board member could even, whether you want to sign or not, you at least make a donation or something. I think it just shows that we are all in this together, and we're really trying to be supportive of decisions that are being made.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, and I guess one word of note, I know when I talked to Bondurant Farrar, he told me that he asked the department if what they thought about, because we've heard everything across the board about using a football field and trying to keep the social distancing, and they highly recommended not doing that. So, and that's some of that stuff just came out this morning's meetings. So I'm curious about the timing of when their message went out, and maybe they didn't follow through, and maybe they did, but maybe they didn't maybe they didn't get the same message that Bondurant heard about not doing that.
Sure, it makes sense. I mean, and I understand why,
Yeah.
Regardless of if it's in June or July, you still want to make sure everybody's safe.
Exactly. First and foremost. Thank you for your comments.
Any other input,
Yeah.
suggestions?
Final echo.
Many of you haven't seen that Plaza Printers is cooperating with the Education Foundation and donating to food pantry, part of the profits from the signs. And I'm assuming that most of you probably saw that on social media, but if you didn't, you can probably get a hold of Steve or Mary Beth or any Brianna or whomever. And I would really, it would be a nice gesture if we all could participate in some way, because I think it's a worthy cause. I think most of the area schools are doing something similar. So
I do have one other topic, and we just talked about it today, Mary Beth and I. Way back when we established the board meetings, dates, I know we just followed last year's, but with all that's going on, we're wondering what the board's thoughts are, and we would have to take action at the next meeting, because again, it just came about today. But if you notice, on the look ahead, we have 2 meetings on the 11th of May and the 18th of May. We're not sure how beneficial it is to do it a week apart. Financially, we don't think it's will hinder us. Again, we're just thinking going with one of the 2 meetings. The meeting in June, again, starting June, July, August, I believe. We just have 1 meeting a month in those anyway. But again, you don't have to necessarily answer now, but maybe you can. It's a chance for the board to at least talk without us actually taking direction, but maybe where you can think out loud of what your thoughts are if we hold both meetings in May, a week apart. And the reason they're a week apart is, I believe, is Memorial Day on the 25th.
well, I think if we select one, we need to do the earlier one, so hopefully we can settle all the contracts. Because we don't have the non-certified yet.
I'm gonna unmute if that, is there feedback?
Why don't you just talk to mine?
So the question came up because they're just a week apart, just from the business office standpoint. We have cut back so dramatically on requisitions and purchase orders, as you can imagine. In fact, we're putting something in place. We've kind of put a halt to non-essential purchases through May 15th. So from a business office standpoint, there would not be anything to gain by having a board meeting and then having another board meeting a week later. And that's just my perspective. There are certainly other factors. On May 11th, I agree with what you said, Catherine. That's the essential one that we would for sure want to keep that date, because we have an instructional support levy hearing that date and some other things that are hitting a timeline. But when I looked ahead to the May 18th meeting, I did not see anything that I thought was essential. But that's, again, just a thought. Thanks.
Any thoughts from the board?
Probably have to put that up for an actual decision the next time.
Will do.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, may I have a motion for adjournment before we go into the closed session?
This is Mark. I'll move for adjournment.
I can second Brianna.
Before we go, I think the order should be, I'm sorry, we should go into closed session now, and then when we come out of closed session, we adjourn.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
And I'm actually in the process of texting Danielle Hainfield, our attorney from Allers. And if she cannot get in on, she's texting back on Google Meet, she may just phone in. So.
I'm sorry, second, and then who's second?
Who was second, I'm sorry?
Okay, Sarah Geiser. And then I'll just need
Mary Beth, you need a motion with the language.
yes, and then I'll do a roll call vote as well.
Okay.
So if we want to read the language, if someone would like to read that, or
I'll do that. This is Stacy. Motion to go into closed session per Iowa Code Chapter 21.5.1C to discuss strategy with the school attorney on matters in litigation or where litigation has been filed or is imminent and where its disclosure would likely prejudice or disadvantage the position of the board in litigation.
and Sarah Geiser, will you second on that?
I will.
Okay,
I will
so let's do a roll call. Ashley Anderson.
Aye.
Stacy Anderson.
Here.
Sarah Schmitz.
Here.
Mark Smith.
Here.
Catherine Hauser.
Here.
And Sarah Geiser.
Here.
All right, and the time is 7:08, and we are in closed session.
Let me end stream.
Steve is going to end the session.